But it's important, the foundation, not to race, not to race for things. It's important to slowly build something. It's more stable with you for the rest of your life. Because you achieve something too soon, you break. It doesn't mean it will always work for you, for the rest of your life. It's important to slowly build your foundation. And this foundation that you have will never betray you, will never go away from you.
So if I could just start by thanking you so much for making time to speak with me, Yana, I really appreciate it. When Sean suggested that I speak with you, I went to listen to some of your music, and your voice is just stunning. I mean, it's beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you and meet you. I'm honored. Thank you.
I appreciate that. That's very kind. So maybe if we could just jump in, and I would start by asking you, what led you to pursue a career in music?
So I think all my life I was involved in music since young age. I was performing. I was in music school, and back in the days, in Russia we had a specific music school, a government music school, and you just go in and you spend all day and you're learning music, theory, dancing, all the music history and stuff. So I started to perform and very young and perform solo. Then I'm from St Petersburg, Russia. So we have this big opera house in St Petersburg. So when I was 12, I auditioned there and they accepted me. So I started working and, in a theater space as a young person, like I was 12. So I was participating as a child artist, singer in some operas. So, then I carried on. I got into college, studied at college, and I started. Then I wanted to experiment, so I joined metal band. So I was performing with a band. We also recorded an album together. It was many years ago. I was, around 16 years old, but we had gigs as well. So I was trying to do many things, and then I met people in the recording studio. So I was trying to write my own music, like more pop stuff. So I tried pretty much many ways of, but in music, because it was fascinating for me, and I felt like I can do it well, and I felt comfortable performing on the stage. I loved being on the stage and singing, and then I carry on studying and moved to Moscow. I graduated College of Music Tchaikovsky. Then I decided to try myself in acting. So I got into Theater University in Moscow, and so I spent time there. Then I auditioned back into opera house. So I started working in opera house as an intern. So it's kind of all my life I was involved in singing. So it was always part of I never really stopped doing it. So. It's just, I just think I'm more evolved over years into what kind of artist am I? I needed to discover my own signature in music and singing, because that was very important to me, because I've tried so many things, and just to see if I fit to the certain, genre or how I see it, if it really belongs to me and I feel natural and I feel related to this. So something like that.
How would you describe that signature that you've evolved to, at least to this point?
It's in classical music. It's very straightforward rules how you perform, and repertoire that you perform. First, you have to learn a repertoire that's suitable for your voice. So, for example, if you're soprano, you're learning soprano repertoire, mezzo soprano, coloratura, and then you start from one composer, and then over years you as you grow, as your voice grows, you get mature, you go into more complex repertoire. For me, I felt like I didn't feel like I would really relate to any of roles that I wanted to perform, like in a theater. For me, I was experimenting, and I wanted to as a singer, find something in my voice that, that I would feel comfortable, because I always felt like my teachers were telling me, you're this, you're that, you have to sing this, you have to sing that. And I was very confused all my life, and I wasn't sure who to listen to. And, but also I met a lot of producers, electronic music producers. So I was trying to collaborate on different, kind of modern music, contemporary music. So, so I felt like, there's more to this genre than just, just to follow the old traditional rules. I wanted to go a little further. For me, it was important to achieve very good technique. So after I achieve this technique and I will be good at, the traditional way of singing, then I could take it to the next level, and I could see how I can experiment with my voice, just to make the sound more, modern, not like, because if you sing modern music, for example, you sing it in a classical way, it's just doesn't make sense. Sometimes it just sounds like made up, not real, not realistic. So for me, it's just more like a lot of training, a lot of learning, recording myself, listening. Okay, do I agree with the sound? I don't agree with the sound. And when I realized, okay, I like this, it does, it works for me. I get emotional when I hear it. So, it says something to me with the sound. And then I was okay with this.
You don't just perform. So you mentioned that you write music as well, and you produce music as well. Are you still doing as much of that, or is your focus more on the performance today?
I met with a composer in New York. We met virtually during the pandemic. Julian de la Chica. He's a Colombian. He's based in New York. He's a filmmaker and a composer. So we record an album together, and then actually now it's 2 albums. And he works in the minimal genre, and it's classical music, but contemporary with electronics. So I focused on that because it took me a lot of time to record, produce, and I had to produce music videos for that, and focus on performances. And I had a debut in Carnegie Hall in February.
Congratulations!
Thank you. A few months ago, yeah. So I was pretty much focused on that because I need to make sure I learn all the pieces. And then he, just a few months of the show, composed another song cycle for me for the show. So I need to learn to record, to prepare for the show, work with fashion designers to create costume for my performance. So I had a fashion designer in Costa Rica, a fashion designer in Dubai. So we had to create. So it was a lot of work. I mean, apart from actual singing, just to production, and media production. So I was focused on that. Recently, I was also working with producers in Dubai, but club music, electronic music. So about to release in September, a club track. And it was remixed by a German DJ, Jean-Claude Ades. He's a quite famous DJ in Europe and in the world. So I'm looking forward to this release. So for that, I had to actually write a song. Not song, but I had to write lyrics and melody for the track that they produced originally. So that was more my creative part and more pop music. Different, yeah. So yeah, I tried myself in different also in different things. It's guilty pleasures for me to do a little fun stuff.
Well, I mentioned Sean at the beginning, Sean Stamp. Can you tell me a little bit about the project that you're working on with him right now?
Yes. So we have this new venue in Dubai. It's called Toda. It's a digital theater. So they showcase digital art, NFT, and then also they have music show. They started to have music shows. So I decided to perform there, and I thought it would be a great venue to actually have a collaboration with artists, because it's important when in a collaboration when 2 artists, they actually come up with a mutual idea. Because especially for my music, I thought it has to be something special, something that connects to what I do and to myself. So I thought that could be an interesting project for us. And then Sean, he's done photo shoots for me, 2 photo shoots. So we thought we could use this as well. While I'm singing, we could show some images and video, of me also there. I just thought it was a great platform to do collaboration like that. Also, it's a contemporary classical music, so I thought it's great to connect to art, to contemporary art, because it's not traditional opera. It's basically a new thing. So 2 contemporary things, collide together could actually work very well.
It just sounds like you're so open to working with different kinds of people in different contexts, different kinds of music. And you mentioned earlier that before, when your teachers would tell you, do it like this or do it like this, and you weren't sure that felt right to you. I guess I wanted to ask you, how do you choose your direction as you're moving forward? Because it sounds like you are open to so many different things, but what is it maybe inside you that says, this is where I'm going to go next? What is it that makes you take your next step?
I think it was not just a big decision in my life in general. I think it's little steps. So I moved to Dubai years ago, and Dubai environment is not really busy with a lot of musicians. It's not very diverse with music. And then, so I was a little alone there at the beginning, and I had to find like a way, what do I do next with my career? So I used to fly a lot to London. I still trained there with my teachers. Amazing teacher from South Africa, Sandra Ford. She's a beautiful soprano. She used to have a big career. Now she's teaching in London. So I was still like focusing on just developing my technique. So my technique would be like, on a great level, international, professional level. So that was important. But then I was thinking, I would like to experiment. I would like to create maybe more like a fusion. And I started to produce music myself, learned to produce. I was making a lot of tracks. I tried to remix old like 19th century songs that would sound to me that I can maybe rearrange them and make it more like a little modern sound. That was my first idea. After this, I started to manipulate with my vocals, with a vocal production. And then after, I already had a sort of idea what I wanted to do. And then I met Julian. It's kind of just happened naturally. I met Julian and he showed me his music. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I want. So I started to work on that. Then I had another idea. I said, why don't we just connect it with the art, with the light installation or with the art? Because just, I thought it would just work. So all these little ideas that came along with during the process of work. So, and also me, I meet a lot of people, and I based on what I like myself. So it's not like I take someone's advice. It speaks to me. I think it's interesting, and I try. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, then it's also fine. It's experience.
What's the biggest risk you've ever taken, would you say?
All my life is a big risk. It's a risk. I'm used to this. It's always a risk, Step down at the opera house is a risk. Moving to the cities is a risk. I never thought what people would think about me. Only after I start receiving reviews for my album, for example, I realized, oh my God, this is actually people are commenting on my work. Before, I was not even thinking if somebody gonna judge me or say something to me. It wasn't the last thing that was on my mind. So now I understand. I look back and I think, oh my God, I didn't even think about these things, because it was actually risky for a career, to take something different, In the classical world, people might judge you if you do something controversial, because it's a very traditional world. But so far it's been okay. It's been fine. Yeah, Carnegie Hall was a success. I really loved, that concert was amazing. Great experience. And it was a world premiere, so we also didn't know. Like, it was the first time I would perform on such stage my music. So that was probably the biggest risk. Carnegie Hall premiere. That was solo. That was the biggest risk probably so far. Yeah.
And how did you feel when you were stepping on stage?
It was amazing. People came to see me. It was full house, and it was like just moment of like enjoying, because you never have this moment again when you have this first debut like this. It's like, yeah, it's a special. I just had to embrace. I had to embrace, and I had to give to the audience maximum I could, so they don't waste their time coming and see me. They will enjoy. So, yeah, it was, of course, not easy, but it was exciting, and it went very well. I was very pleased.
I would like to know where this quiet confidence that you have comes from, because I can just see it in the way that you're talking about your career. And even if you say, well, maybe that was a bit of a risk, maybe at the time I wasn't even really thinking about it. I wasn't really worried about what people were going to say about it. I just did it.
The confidence, I work really hard, all my life to be, how to say, of course, there's always a room to grow and to improve. But I know I've done maximum all my life for me to be a good singer, try to be a good singer. I changed different institutions. I learned, I worked, trained myself, but I never really, it was always a smooth way for me. Like, life is not easy, it's hard, but professionally for me, I knew it's not like I had to knock the door and then it wouldn't open. I mean, everything I wanted, I pretty much got. I wanted to work in an opera house when I was younger. I got into opera house. I went studying in the top universities and colleges in Russia. It was also not a struggle for me. The biggest struggle for me is to actually understand what I wanted to do with my voice, and actually that's what the hardest struggle, not what people think about me and judgments. It's my own judgment. If I like it, then it's okay. Good enough for me. I started my social media profile a couple of years ago, YouTube, Instagram. And I started it myself. I decided to try, to post music and my performance, singing, just casual stuff. I play piano at home. And just to see also the reaction from the people, just to test. So this is also gives you some kind of gives me idea, if it's working or not. Because at the end of the day, the conversation comes between artist and the audience. And if the audience connects to you, what you create, this is done. The job is done. The critics, it's all great. It's actually amazing, if people value your work. But the direct communication with your audience, this is what actually shows you, if it's right way, if it works, if it doesn't work. So that for me, I see how these things evolve around me. So that gave me confidence. Professional confidence into that I'm doing the right thing and I should, keep going.
So then I would ask, where do you see vulnerability in your career as a performer or yourself as a person? Are there moments of vulnerability for you?
Yes, and I use my vulnerability as my strength because on the stage, you are on your own, and your vulnerability is what you actually extract from yourself and give it to people. It's not about entertainment in my music. It's not about entertainment. It's about me taking my heart, my guts out, and give it to people. And for this, I have to get very down, like deep down in my emotions, and translate, what I wanted to say, the truth that I wanted to say to people. So yeah, because that's vulnerability. It's you absolutely naked, in front of people, emotionally naked. So you have to be vulnerable. Because this is the only thing that will probably connect you to the people, to audience.
What you performed at Carnegie Hall, for example, what do you think it was that you shared with the audience? Like, what was it in you?
So it's two song cycles. First is called Poemas de Bar. It's in Spanish. It's a short stories from New York City bars. It's composed by Julian de la Chica. So each song is a short story of like different people that they share, when they alone in the bar, like late hours, like by themselves, like late hours or early morning. So it's the moment when someone's alone, lonely, tipsy, drunk, and then he's telling a story to a bartender or to a stranger next to him or her. So basically it's a monologue. So each story, each song is a monologue, and it's about loneliness. It's about dark moments of people. So and it's I can relate to this as well. I don't know. It's like acting. It's an acting moment. So I have to be in the situation as a singer, as an actress, and I'm telling the storytelling. So I'm telling people the story of this person. Quite sad. So.
How did you feel that connection with the audience in that moment?
Yeah, I felt it very well, because it's very strong text, and when you say this strong text to someone, and especially with this music, it's a piano and vocal. It's not that much going on, orchestra or something. It's just it's a lot of pause. Many phrases is just me singing at all, like nothing else. So as I'm getting into the character and I'm telling the story, I can see the people watching me and they're listening to me. And sometimes it's a silence, and people just listen. And that's what this moment you understand that, the connection has happened. Yeah.
What do you see maybe as next steps of where you want to go? You've explored so many different things already. What would be something new maybe that you would want to try?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm a singer. As a singer, I can just sing anything. It depends on, I think, on which producer, composer I will work with, and depends on this person. It's gonna sound completely different. So I bring something my own, but then of course the rest of the work, the music itself, it will be completely different. So, and the production is completely different. It's very precise in music, even mixing the voice and mastering, mixing the voice. It sounds so different with different producer. So yeah, I'd like to try different things. It's good to grow and evolve, and I'm happy to explore more.
How was it during COVID? I can imagine for somebody who is so passionate about performing that the past few years must have been tough.
Well, it was not easy, but it was a crucial time for me. I had, let's say, started a new life after pandemic. So I changed, I separated with my ex-husband just during the pandemic. So I started new life. I have a child. I have a son, 8-year-old son. So we started living together. Then I started working on this project. So it's all kind of happened at the same time. So I was not really bored, and I was really busy with everything, with my life in general. And actually I created a lot of things during or after just lockdown things. So it was give me this energy and took my life in a different direction. But it was a very productive time for me. I've done a lot. Also, it was a production time. I was sitting in the studio recording a lot, so I was not really running around, but I just was more in creative zone during this time. Because then it's everything can be very destructive. To be able to create something, you have to be focused. You just have to sit in the studio. Don't go out. Don't talk to people. So that was a good time for me.
You are open to what comes, so you don't necessarily plan your next steps, but you meet a lot of people, you get exposed to lots of different forms of art, and then that helps you decide just what's the next step for me now. Is that? right?
Yes and no. So of course I have a plan. Yeah, I know I have to like my next step. I'm planning next 2 months to record a new album. So it's just I took a little break and I was focusing on other things. But yeah, my next step is a new album, and a new album comes with all this other stuff. And also performances, yeah. So it's just a lineup of shows, performances. So I have a plan. But of course, if something comes along which is interesting, I would not reject. I would definitely be happy to explore. You know. But plan is important as well.
I'm not so good at planning. I was just, I guess I was probably reading into you, trying to project me saying, oh no, just take things as they come along. But you have a more structured approach. You are structured.
But they do come along as well. Things do come along, which is great. So I don't know, maybe with other creatives, it's more like they wanted to. I know it's true. And a lot of singers, they know their niche and their genre, and they're afraid to do something else. If you're an opera singer, then you're an opera singer. That's it. You play roles and you sing. If you're a rock singer, you play in a band. Yeah, it's true. People, they stick to what is working for them. Yeah, it's true. But I think, I mean, for me, it's what I represent as an artist, as a singer, how I sing. And if some producer wants to create something with my voice and with me as an artist, I would be interested in that. But I don't have to change myself.
Yeah, I find that interesting just in terms of how you have so many diverse expressions of your talent in music with different people and different types of music. But there is still what is unique to you, your self-expression, your voice. What words would you use to describe what is it that's sort of constant with you in all these different forms of expression?
I don't know. I can't describe myself. Me is me. It's just, it's just me. When I sing, I get into the zone when I'm singing, which is me. I'm not trying to copy somebody. So it's just who I am and how I do it. And I do it trying to the best way. So this is it. I don't really know how to describe it.
Interesting.
Yeah, because people write many things. It can be an eclectic singer, classical trained singer, mezzo soprano. Here, like in the Middle East, they say opera singer. There's different, ways. When I do electronic music, they don't say singer, so they use different term of describing who I am. But it depends how people want it to see, what works for them. But me is me.
You might look back later and then as you track through the different things that you've accomplished, you see that thread, but it may only be in hindsight, not looking forward at the moment, what it is.
Maybe, yes, maybe. But it's, I think in life, it's the path to yourself, it doesn't matter what you do. Your journey is not the journey to achieve something and go somewhere. It's the journey to discover who you are and discover yourself. And more you know about yourself, more like you learn about yourself, and it's like unlimited. It's the greatest thing is to actually find yourself and find your voice and be comfortable with yourself, who you are. And we always change. I always change. The way I look, the way we look, the way we sing, the way, it's always constant change, So it's rediscovering yourself. It's, this type of journey. It's always like meeting your new self along the way. So
I love that. That's great. I think you're right. And I think that's why it's so important to do our best to go towards the things that we're really drawn to instead of the things that we think we should be doing, because you won't find yourself in the things that you should be doing.
Well, that depends on the approach, because it depends what's your goals in life. If you want to have a commercial career, then you stick to one thing and you listen to people, and it's a business that you do. It's just different approach as an artist you have to take. Finding yourself, this is hard. This is the hardest one, following other people, it's easier. You don't need to be very creative. You just do what's already working for other people, and that's it. Much harder to actually create something new.
Well, it sounds like you're doing all kinds of interesting experimental types of work where you challenge yourself each time to do something new. It doesn't sound like you repeat yourself. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, it's important for me, because if I don't do it, then I just then I lose focus. And for me to have this focus, I need to have something creative.
Is there anything that you want to do but are not sure you are ready for yet? I'm wondering if there's any challenge you have in your mind. You're like, one day I'm going to do this, but I'm not quite ready for that yet.
I think you don't know if you're ready until you try. Because one will never be ready, Of course, like even a few years ago, I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, okay, now I'm much better than this. Like I knew less, but I still done things and I was not afraid. And so, I mean, I'm not. I know, like sometimes it's not perfect, but you have to do it, and it's one step. And then you have to do another one, and then that's how you learn. It's how you become better, and more like, and then you have your breakthrough at some point. But if you just sit there and wait for the right moment, it will never come in life. Nobody's gonna come to you and say, "Hello, let's go. I'll show you. Everything is for you. This is a stage. Come sing. This is a song." No. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there are people like that, but I think in life you have to get yourself out there as an artist. Like when I studied in acting theater school, and then it's drama and music and musical theater. So, they train you. You have to just go in front of the audience. It doesn't matter, you're a student, you're young, you don't know anything. And you try and you show them some pieces, you act. And of course, it's funny. And I look back and I think, oh my God, this is really just funny, But it's important. You build your confidence, and okay, once I've done this, it doesn't work. The next time I learn my mistakes. The next time it's much better. So, it's. I think it's part of training as an actress, because you have to really forget about this. These insecurities when you're on a stage. It's just something that you cannot be part of your physical state.
How do you not feel that way? Do you have those feelings and you just say, I'm not going to listen to those right now? Or do you just not have those feelings of insecurities?
Of course I do. Of course I have insecurities, and everyone has. No, but it's not about insecurities. It's a professional thing. It's nothing to do with me. It's something to do, at workspace. For some people it's office. For some people it's, a different job. But, when you're on the stage in front of the people, this is your job. You have to do your job. You are there. People pay tickets to come and see you. So you do your best. You learn your music, you learn your acting, and you be a good one, because it's your professional reputation as well. Of course, there's some emotions involved, and maybe some nervous, and sometimes you forget things. It's totally normal for everyone. But you're on a stage. This is your job. You do your job. It's professional. Yes, of course, there are moments back in days when I knew I was not ready yet. I knew it. I had to take a step back, and I had to train more. So that's why I used to fly to London, and I took masterclass with people, with coaches from Royal Opera House, and amazing people, amazing professionals. My teacher, Sandra, it's constant work, hours and hours, a few times a week, hours of singing, training, slowly exercise until, okay, now I can, now I'm ready, now I feel myself. But yeah, it took me years to be like where I am right now. Yeah, I remember offered me. I was 24. They offered me to do like a show, like a solo show where I it's like a theater production, like a mono how would you call this, mono production, where I'm the lead singer and just a few other actors. And and I was like thinking, no, I'm not ready yet. And I knew I was not ready yet. I was too young. I was not experienced yet. I didn't have this maturity to be able to hold something by myself. So I said no. And I just I decided that I need just to spend some time just to fix my my technique. Just when my technique will be great, then yes, and I can hold the show. But before that, I said no, I was not ready. I know you have one shot. You do it, but you go in front of the people when you're ready physically, and then after this, everything else happens. But it's important to also understand your level. I worked in top like opera house in Russia. I saw like amazing singers and musicians, conductors. I knew what's the level, should it be on the stage, what's expectations. So I had experience, so I knew where I am at that point. So that's it.
I feel like your deep technical training gives you that foundation that you build on. Like you seem to gain a lot of confidence from the fact that you have worked so hard in the technical aspects of music.
Definitely. Yeah, because I think I was an achiever when I was younger. I knew I have to be there. I have to go to this university. I have to study there. And I did everything I wanted to do. I got it. It was, I was achieving, but I realized this is the wrong approach. Achieving is good, but I have to be able to give something for myself. I have to be good in what I do. The craft is more important than achieving something. It's that your pain is your mind, it's your body. Yeah, it's something you do with your hands or with your voice or in your mind. You have to go very deep inside of yourself and admit who you are and be honest with yourself and be honest how you feel and be honest what you want. And it's when you realize that, that's when you can shine with your work and with your art.
Thank you so much again for making the time to speak with me. I really, really appreciate it, Yana.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Okay.
Thanks. Right. Bye. Bye.